Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for watching my video, and do all that good YouTube stuff. Share it, like it, hit the notification bell, thumbs up, subscribe, all the things that you do. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video and saving some money perhaps. I also invite you to check out the links in the description for some long-term savings with the stock market, and checking out the links for either E-Trade or M1, where you can save and trade fractional stocks, or Webull, which is usually giving away a couple free stocks for just depositing $100. So I strongly invite you to invest in your future and check them out. Thanks, and let's get to the video. Pretty nice little job, 2005 Jeep Liberty, 3.7 liter. Radiator cap here. Pulls on and off. We're draining the coolant. I have a bucket underneath, so we're just going to let the coolant go down in the bucket when I take the water pump off. I'm not going to worry about draining from the drain on the radiator or anything. Of course, the belt's on here. I'm fortunate enough not to have a fan. Otherwise, it makes a little different job. But you might be able to borrow parts from your parts store, get a holder, got little holes in here, hold it, and then left to loosen, take the fan assembly off. Not a huge deal. Otherwise, got the belt off, tensioner here, 15 millimeter, and you just pull clockwise to loosen the belt tensioner. Then you can take the belt off. Came off really nice off the water pump, so pretty sweet. And we'll take probably a 13 millimeter bolt here. Take this off because we're blocking a bolt down there. We'll take this off, and then we'll take the 6 or 7 bolts off the water pump. Again, probably 13 millimeter all of them, and then the water pump pulls straight off. Pretty nice and easy. I'm using the air ratchet. It'll make things go a little faster for me. There's a notch where a bolt head fits in there. You see a bolt head down there. Bolts probably have some Loctite on them, maybe some kind of sealer. I'm going to make it a little tougher to come out, but we'll just zing all these bolts out. They might be different sizes, but it's all right. So far it's been short, long, short, long. Two shorts. Might leave a couple screwed in here just so the water pump just doesn't fall down on me, but otherwise bolts are out. We'll take a pry bar and probably try and pry this out. I just pried around this bolt on here and it popped out. There's the bolt that's going to fit in that notch for the belt tensioner right there. So we're just going to pop this water pump off, and that'll be removing your water pump. Half the job's done. Here's our water pump for the Jeep. Got the gasket as a rubber gasket, just kind of fits into a groove in the water pump, so we'll do that with our new one. We'll just wipe down this surface here where the water pump mounts. Shouldn't need a lot of cleaning because it's a nice smooth rubber gasket. So we'll wipe that down, make sure it's smooth, and then we'll get our water pump out of the box and install our gasket. So we've got our rubber gasket pushed down basically into our hole here. Grooves. You got the little tab there and little tab there, so it's in the right spot. You can work it down. So these bolt holes are all a little bit wide. So when you mount the water pump up, it'll have just a little free play. Try and get the bolt. Do a couple bolts, make sure they're centered. I'm sure if you got a couple centered, the rest will be centered in the hole. Not too much to one side or the next. So you could have a possibility of this rubbing on the water pump in here. So we want to center it. We'll drop our water pump in here and we'll bring it over and mount it. Pretty easy. My light just went out on my camera after I dropped it one too many times. Kind of see how the bolts are kind of sitting on the edge, so we want to try and, when we're closer to tightening it, want to lift it up, try and get those holes centered. Avoid any issue with the pulley freezing up there with the impeller stuck on the engine. And the bolts can really only go one way. You'll figure it out once you put the bolts in the holes. Alright, so what I've done is I snugged a couple up, keeping an eye on the ones that are not in yet. And I can see they look pretty good and centered. So I'm going to tighten a couple more. I might leave this one and this one kind of... you want to tighten them evenly. You don't want stuff rotating, so I just do a couple so it's kind of snug, and then zip them in, and then make sure your pulley spins freely. If it does, you're going to be good to go. We'll tighten those down. I think it's 40 foot-pounds. As you can actually, I think the instructions say to take this off, just idler pulley. Probably also 15 millimeter. You can just unbolt that and bolt it back on. I think it's 45 foot-pounds for that. So there you go on that water pump removal and installation bit. If you do take this off, which I did, it's 30 foot-pounds. Alright. Got the belt on. You can see the routing there. Pretty easy job. We'll go ahead and put coolant in here. So the cold fill line. It's a cold fill right here. So we'll fill it up with a gallon and a half of 50-50 mix of coolant, and then we'll run it after that. Vacuum filling machine should help get rid of air pockets. I think Jeep wants you to take a 8mm Allen, put it in here, take this out, fill it until you get coolant coming out of here, and put the plug in. If you're going to do that, go ahead and try. We've stripped a couple out when we've tried it, and with the machine we don't really need to. My next suggestion would be to take it off here and let the air and the coolant come out of here, and then put the hose back on. And you try that. Either way, maybe I'd do this before you put the belt on. And when you want to put the belt on, take some garden hose and wash this down with water. Try and keep coolant from getting on the belt as much as possible. I have bad luck with coolant and belts making a squeaking noise. So you rinse it off with water. You'll probably be okay. So 8mm. So we'll vacuum fill it. I'll tell you how much it holds. Alright, so we added about 7 quarts. Set the full cold fill mark right there. So I feel good that you'll need to get also about 7 quarts, which is probably 1 3/4 of a gallon. 1 gallon and then 3/4 of a gallon. 1 3/4 of a gallon. So then we'll put the cap on. And we'll run it in about 10 or 15 minutes. We should be getting some heat out of the vents. Put the temperature on hot and the vent control on vent. And we'll just check things out and should get some heat. So I set my timer for 11 minutes and got in here. Ooh, there's some nice warm heat coming out the vents there. So I feel good about circulation. Of course, can check the temperature gauge. Look at that, 11 minutes. Almost up to halfway. Real good, Clark. So go for a test drive, 7 miles. We'll come back, let it cool off for a couple hours, and we'll go back and take the radiator cap off there, or the overflow jug cap, and check the fluid there and top off as needed. Good luck to you on the water pump on the Jeep Liberty 2005 and other model years, I'm sure 3.7 liter.